Hey guys, so I am back on YouTube and I want to talk about some things that I have been going through for these past few months, get some things off my chest, talk about some decisions that I have made and some self-reflection and all that stuff. So these past few months have been really difficult for me. I mean, they've been really difficult for all of us. Let's be real. They have been really hard on everybody because of all the crap that's been going on in the world. But I mentioned in my Smeagol video that I have been recovering from a toxic relationship. And for the past few months, I have been reflecting on that relationship as well as past relationships, both platonic and romantic. And I have realized that I was not at all innocent in any of those relationships. In fact, I was just as toxic to those people as they were to me. And before you guys tell me that I'm being too hard on myself or that I need to not put myself down, I am not being too hard on myself. I am trying to be really honest with myself. I am trying to learn from my mistakes and grow as a person and better myself. So looking back on these relationships, I have realized that even though they have deeply hurt me, I have been manipulated, I have been gaslighted, I have been bullied in these relationships and by other people. And, well, honestly, I have done a lot of the same. I was also manipulative. I was very clingy. I was very pushy. I put a lot of pressure on them. And I didn't mean to, obviously. I didn't mean to do it. It was not my intention to hurt anybody or to do any of these things, but it doesn't matter what my intentions were. The point is, I did this stuff, and honestly, I kind of knew all along that I was toxic to these people, but I never really dove super deep into it and really let myself actually, I don't know, accept it and really, truly, fully acknowledge it. And I don't know, piece it together. I guess maybe because I was afraid to and I was too ashamed. And trust me, I'm still ashamed of the stuff that I did. Like I said, I never intended to do any of it, but I did. And well, I mean, it explains why so many people have turned on me. Like I said, I was just as toxic to them as they were to me, and I'm going to give you a few examples. So the last relationship that I was in fact, it was actually more of a friendship. We only had a relationship for like a few weeks, and then he broke up with me. But basically, I developed feelings for him really fast, and he made it perfectly clear that he was not ready for a relationship. And he did not want long distance, but he also said that he had feelings for me. And I took that as my cue to pursue things. And basically, I put a lot of pressure on him. I never meant to. I want to keep reiterating that because I never meant to, but it doesn't matter. I put pressure on him, and I basically kept pouring out my feelings to him and pouring my heart out and telling him how much I love him, blah, blah, blah. And I was very manipulative, and like, for example, I would get butthurt if he couldn't talk to me on the phone because he had something else going on, or he was too tired or whatever, or he just didn't want to talk. I used pity to get what I wanted. I used guilt. I never meant to, but I did. It doesn't, why do I even keep saying that I never meant to? Because I did it anyway. It doesn't matter that I didn't mean to. I did it. I used guilt. I was very clingy. I was very pushy, and I smothered him a lot. And I did that in a lot of my relationships. And when when they didn't reciprocate, I would do something like, I don't know, give them the silent treatment to see if they would notice that I was no longer talking to them. And I'm like, are you kidding me? That is so unbelievably immature and so stupid. And looking back at it, it just makes me cringe. And I don't know. I can understand why they decided they wanted to leave and they wanted to cut ties with me, or they wanted to basically back away from me, distance themselves, whatever. I can understand why they did that. And then there were some friends that I would rely on way too much. Like, I would ask them to do my dirty work. Like, if I was having a problem with a guy, I would ask them, can you please talk to so-and-so for me because I'm too scared? And oh my gosh, I relied on people like way too much because I was afraid of conflict, because of my crippling fear of abandonment, because I have had so many people turn on me in the past, and so many people who said they would always be there for me and be my friend and always care about me. And then they just up and left, and that had a major effect on me. So I did what I could to try and keep these people close to me, and I did it wrong. I ended up smothering them, and I ended up really hurting them, and I really, truly regret it, and I really wish that I never did any of that stuff. I have also faced a lot of other hard things. I have talked to some loved ones about how I feel about my body image. I posted a body image video a few months ago, and I talked to some loved ones about how I feel about when they bring it up and when they talk about my weight. I told them how it made me feel, and they were very understanding and receptive, and it was like one of the scariest talks that I've had, because I was afraid that they weren't going to respond in a way that I needed. I was afraid that I was going to be met with criticism. I was afraid that I was going to be told that I was wrong, or that I was overreacting, or whatever. But it turned out it was the complete opposite, and it was such a freeing conversation, because I do struggle with my weight. I struggle with my body image. I really hate my body. Let's be real. I hate my body. Like, when I look in the mirror, I've talked about this in my body image video, but I have spent my whole life having to worry so much about my weight because I've had to hear it from so many people, and it's exhausting for me. I'm so exhausted from having to waste my life worrying about my body image and worrying about my weight and losing weight really quickly. And I'm so tired of it because it's exhausting me. And when I opened up about this, it really, really, really liberated me, and it felt so good to finally get it all off my chest, and for these people to understand just how it makes me feel when they talk about my weight to me, or when they bring it up and they tell me you need to lose weight, because I understand they're doing it out of concern because they want me to be healthy, but they didn't realize how much it was hurting me to constantly be reminded of my weight. And I made sure to let them know that I understood that they were doing it out of concern because they love me and everything, and they wanted me to be healthy. I wanted them to know that I understood why. But talking to them about that, it was so freeing. So I am really, really glad that I got that all off my chest. Going back to relationships, I have been doing a lot of reflecting and processing of this past relationship that I talked about. I have thought about everything that happened, everything that he did that made me feel hurt, everything that I did, and piecing together everything, processing everything. And I have actually gotten to the point where I am able to forgive him. In fact, I actually messaged him a few days ago, and I told him that I forgive him, but I also apologized for my actions in the relationship and in our friendship. And I haven't gotten a response from him, and I probably won't for a long time because we're not friends on Facebook anymore. So my message probably went to his message request, and it's probably going to take a while. But honestly, though, he doesn't have to forgive me if he doesn't want to, or if he's not ready, or if he is too hurt by my actions. You know, that those are his feelings. But I did want him to know that I do forgive him for his actions, and I wanted him to know that I understand where I went wrong in our friendship and our relationship, and I apologized for it. And it was really scary to do, but it was something that I really felt that I had to do for my own sake, and also, you know, also for his sake too. Maybe, I hope maybe that message will help him feel a little better. I don't know. But it did help me feel a lot better because I got a lot off my chest, and I acknowledged my mistakes directly towards him, and I owned up to what I did, and I'm glad that I did it, even if I don't get a very nice response in return. Even if I am met with a response like, I don't want to talk to you, you really hurt me, stuff like that, I would understand. Even if it would be painful to get a response like that, at least I know that I did what I could do to let him know that I understand that I screwed up and that I'm sorry. And so, yeah, I acknowledged that as well. And I'm really glad that I did that. And you'll have to excuse me for my tone of voice. I'm kind of nervous because, you know, this stuff is really hard to talk about. And I always have a hard time talking on camera because I lose my train of thought. But I think that's another thing that I want to work on is my camera anxiety and losing my train of thought and having to go back on everything that I say and start over again. You know, I do have anxiety with that because my mind just goes blank. Maybe sometimes I'll get distracted, or I will get tongue-tied and I'll mess up what I was saying, and then I'll lose my train of thought, and then I'll be like, okay, where was I? What was I saying? And then I won't be able to pick up where I left off, and then I worry that the video is going to turn into a disaster if I just don't start all over and make sure that it's perfect because I've completely lost my train of thought. So I want to work on that too. You know, sometimes I don't have a hard time with that, but a lot of times I do. And in fact, I've had a hard time with that in this video. I've had to start over a whole bunch of times because I lost my train of thought. But I feel like if I keep making videos and I keep talking in front of the camera and talking about my feelings and everything, I think that I will be able to overcome that. I have also made a very, very important decision regarding my mental health. This is something that I have been thinking about for years on end and going back and forth in my mind about, should I do this? Yes, no, yeah, I want to do this. No, I don't want to do this. And I have finally decided that I am going to reach out for some help. I go to an adult Asperger's and autism group once a month, and the guy that runs the group is a counselor and he specializes in autism. So I have decided that I am going to reach out to him and have some private one-on-one talk sessions with him and talk therapy with him. And I want to eventually maybe reach out to a psychiatrist and see if I can get proper diagnosis for mental health issues that I think are going on with me. I'm not going to say what they are, but I do want to get proper diagnosis, and I want to know what's going on with me eventually. I think it might take some time before I'm truly ready to do that, but at least I have made the decision to reach out for help and get better and work through all of my issues, because I'm just so tired of struggling like this, and I'm tired of feeling so down on myself. I'm tired of hating everything about myself, and I just want to learn how to stop. I want to learn how to love myself. I want to learn how to handle certain situations better. And the reason that I have been so on the fence about doing this is because there are some things about myself that I don't want to change because they are a part of me and I either enjoy them or I just don't want to change them. And because in the past, when I was a teenager, I had some not so good experiences with therapy because the therapist would try to get me to get over my autistic behaviors and my sensory issues, and that didn't help me at all. It only made me feel worse about myself. And there are things about myself that I don't want to change. I'm not going to change my sensory issues. I'm not going to change the fact that I am super sensitive. I'm not going to change the fact that I have childlike tendencies. I want to learn to stop being ashamed of them. In fact, I'm going to talk more about this in another video, but I don't know. I'm just really glad that I have finally decided to reach out for help and to get better and to help myself. And really, I just really feel good about this. And by the way, I also want to say that these past few months, I don't know how I would have gotten through them without Smeagol. And if you guys want to know more about how Smeagol has helped me, look at my video, Why Smeagol is My Hero. I am probably going to re-upload that and make a new, I'm going to just upload an edited version of that where I have cut some unnecessary things out of it and rearranged things, but I don't know. But yeah, I have been going through a lot these past few months, not just with my mental health, but I have also been personally affected by COVID. Both of my grandparents got COVID a couple of months ago. My grandmother, thankfully, was asymptomatic, but my grandfather was pretty sick. Thankfully, it was mild and he survived it and he kicked its butt. But it was a really scary time for me and for our whole family because I was so scared that something was going to happen to him. I was really afraid of losing him, because I'm really close with my grandparents and, because they raised me and I live with them. So, and by the way, no, I didn't get COVID. I've been tested multiple times actually. And I tested negative both times. And I also tested negative for the antibodies. So I am okay, guys. But obviously, I'm still being careful like I've always been. But like I said, I wouldn't have gotten through this without Smeagol because he has been my rock. I don't know. Smeagol is just the embodiment of strength for me. And I feel like he is basically my angel. And every day, I thank God for sending him to me because I almost hit rock bottom this year because of everything that's been going on with me personally, with my family, with a lot of stuff, with relationships, with just so much. And Smeagol, I always had Smeagol to, to snuggle up to and just let it all out and just, snuggle up with him and just cry it all out when I needed to. And I don't know, Smeagol is just a special character, and Lord of the Rings has just really helped me because that entire story is about never giving up. And Smeagol is one of those characters that never gave up, ever. Things got really tough for him, really tough. But he never gave up. He kept going and he had a positive attitude and he was very determined. And that is so inspiring to me because I can honestly say that if I had to go through what he did, I wouldn't last 5 minutes. But he lasted over 500 years. I mean, and he kept going. That, people see him as a pitiful character, but he really isn't. If you really pay attention to his story, you will see just how incredibly strong he is, and how empowering he is, and he kept fighting no matter how tough things got. So anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about for right now, but I am definitely really glad to be back on YouTube, and I'm going to be talking more about my mental health issues, and I'm going to be talking about more autism and autistic traits. And when I start out my therapy, I'm going to be talking about things that I learned in my therapy sessions, and I'm not sure when it's going to start, but hopefully in a couple of weeks or so. I don't know, but I do want to talk about things that I learn during the course of my therapy and my recovery. And so anyway, if you guys want to see more of my music videos, mental health, and my fun vlogs, please be sure to click subscribe and hit the notification bell, leave comments, and share my videos and my channel with all your friends. So anyway, before I go, big fluffy sweater hugs, and thank you for being understanding and supportive of me, and bye.